sign in to my Hangout as well. I'm doing both the Hangout and this one at the same time, so we'll see how it's going to go. I don't know why it's not working. In any event, okay, turn the camera off. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm a little distracted. Hopefully it'll work out. I don't know. I haven't tried to do both at the same time, so I don't know what the problem is, because I'm trying to join my own Hangout. Anyway, I'm just gonna let it go, and we'll go from there. So he really led into the Redditor people, and one thing that is so difficult about people spreading rumors is, and I forget what you call it, but there's a tendency for people to equalize information, meaning that, for instance, in civil litigation, unless you can, in my experience and what I've seen, unless you can really show that the other side has a terrible, 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 evil expert, the jury's going to tend to give about as equal weight to your expert as theirs, even if yours is much better. And so that's kind of the problem here. It's like, well, there's this one person arguing this one thing, and Undisclosed is arguing this, and people don't think, well, wait a minute. Undisclosed has legitimate people with lives and careers and everything on the line, and there's some random person with a made-up name that could be 10 other people. Hi! All right, I'm on the Hangout too. So I'm going to try to get back a little so I can look at all of you, but it's probably going to be weird. I'm not trying to avoid eye contact. Oh, now I'm joining the video call. So hopefully you people are there. I'm not trying to avoid eye contact. I'm just there we go. Okay, I don't quite understand how this works. So hopefully people can see me and they'll email me or something if there's a problem. Okay, I don't know what's going on there, so I'm just going to hope that things on the Hangout are working. I know Rabia said she was going to be on there, which is very nice, but I don't know. So let's talk about Debbie. I want to talk all about the Debbie interview and what that tells us about this case, and a little bit about psychology and kind of about how this case went down. You know, I'm not one of those people that wants to take the... I'm sorry, I'm really confused with this Hangout thing. I thought I understood how it works. I don't know if anyone can even see me, and so I'm sorry to be so distracted. So I hope it's working out there. Because I hear some noise in the background, so I don't know if people are supposed to talk or what happens. All right, anyway, I'm just going to assume it's working, and if it doesn't, we'll go from there. All right. Okay, a bunch of people are joining this call. I think maybe you're supposed to mute unless you... Okay, I can see and hear you, Brendan. I guess probably you should mute if you want to say something. Okay, it's working fine. All right, so I'm just going to talk because I don't understand the Hangout thing and go. All right, so the Debbie call, Debbie interview. The one thing that has struck me the most this whole time that I've been interested in Serial is the one snippet from Debbie's interview with, I don't even want to call it interview, it's an interrogation by a cop in a school, you know, that already, right, I mean, I'm not trying to get political or anything, but schools are an environment that's a controlled environment, you know, there's bells, you do things, you line up, you know, so you're already kind of in that mindset, and as I understand, the cops did the interview there, so I'm just going to call it essentially an interrogation. We can just look at that. It's the snippet about the 7-hour conversation with Dawn. Because I think I first saw it, yes, I knew for sure, I first saw it in Susan Simpson's blog post on viewfromll2.com, and the date of it is March 19th, 2005. It's about Dawn's alibi. It's worth a read again. And I'm just going to read you the snippet again, and everything that we talk about is going to riff off of that. And Bob did a great job. I'm not going over all the stuff he showed about the leading that the investigators were doing, because it was useful for him to get into detail, but that's so clear to me. And hopefully when I talk about the Debbie interview and what flows from it, it'll apply to all the others. So here we go. I can't say the name. The guy with a Scottish-Irish last name, the investigator. Okay, however, there came a time when you actually did talk to him, and that was on the telephone. Yes. And how long of a conversation was that? 7 hours. 7-hour conversation? Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. And at that point, did you realize that Hay was not with Donnie? Yes, I did. And that's what the primarily discussion was about? Right. In the beginning, that's what we talked about, and then, I don't know, I guess after that I felt I knew him. He was so concerned. He was really upset. He mentioned that he figured that Adnan had something to do with her disappearance, but at that point I just thought he had nothing to do with it. So, we're gonna do a little bit of a make-believe thing right here. Because there's thinking, oh, someone should have investigated that, versus realizing the state of mind that someone would have to be in that interview or interrogation of the cop not to investigate. So I'm going to come up with a little story and set this up, just so we can all experience it right now and look into what that tells us about the investigators and about the investigation. So here's our story. We have a film noir movie, the 1940s, so black and white, there's a lot of smoking going on. And there's let's just say private investigator. We'll just go from that, because it's always those in those cases. And some distinguished woman, younger woman, walks in and says, I got a problem. Dirk Musgrave. I've got a problem, Mr. Musgrave. I've got some outstanding debt that's owed to me. It's in a bank deposit box. I need you to get at it. He says, sure, I'll take your case. And then, the headline the next day, he sees that this person ended up dead. So he's now invested in it, doing an investigation. And he's going through and he's talking to people, and he talks to this person's best friend. And he sits down and he's talking to her best friend, and he's going through, what could have happened to her. And he gets to the question, and he goes this, so there came a time when you actually did talk to her current boyfriend on the telephone. Yes. And how long a conversation was that? 7 hours. 7-hour conversation? I mean, this should have spawned a whole lot of questions. We have a 7-hour conversation between two people who really don't know each other, and nothing comes of it. This goes away. This doesn't go anywhere at all. And this would be the time that anyone who cared about what happened, let's not even say cared about, let's just say you were a person, you had heard this, and you just had the basic modicum of curiosity. You would want to know about all this. And I guess it turned out somewhere else that she went on a kind of date with the guy. I shouldn't say date, but they went to a movie with her and some friends. I mean, this is a hugely interesting story. I mean, how does this happen? But this detective had no interest in it whatsoever, at all. And so hopefully I didn't really do a really good job laying out the story. This is sort of a spur of the moment thing, but just think about what frame of mind the detective has to be in for that to be the case. I'm just going to give a little personal anecdote, maybe to help. Again, coming from a perspective of a lawyer, having, I think, that same mindset. Unfortunately, when I was a young lawyer, I had a case where we represented the Alameda County Sheriff's Office. It was a combination termination case and actually a criminal investigation. There was an allegation that a psychologist there was double dipping, was doing personal work on government time, and there was a lot that went into it. And so I think it might have been my first deposition ever. I deposed the union rep of two of the marriage and family therapist interns that were under the tutelage of the psychologist, and said that she was,